And I'm an asshole, and that's okay. I piss people off, and it makes my day. Welcome to another episode of John Sees the World. Or is it John Sees the World? I don't know. I'm not really certain. Today, our sponsor coming to you, bringing us to you today, would be Body Cover Condom. The only condom that covers you from head to toe. Don't bother with those wiggly little one-piece things that they've been using forever. Body Cover Condom. It comes in a spray can for your convenience. Noodled smell. Okay. Well, that's our sponsor for this week. Why, I don't know. Where do we get these sponsors at?
Hey, they hit me up by email, and I said,
okay.
I personally use their product. I think it's. I stand by it.
I thought you were just going through a latex thing, but all right.
Well, I mean, it's multi-use. So, I mean.
Okay. I was going to submit you to stuff like separation of church and state and tell a non-dad joke, but I don't think you'd want to go to sit and suffer through that right now. Oh, man, I'm having too much fun doing this. I really enjoy. Hey, give me another beer, please. Yes, we do drink here on the set copiously. It's almost a requirement if you're going to be part of the crew. But let me see here. So that takes us all really down to...
What else is swimming through your head right now, John?
Yeah. My brains, what's left of them. I was trying to come up with something, I've got a rather original, very raspy voice. And when it gets low, it sounds like this. And when it gets regular, it sounds like, and when somebody kicks me in the nuts, it sounds like this. But just so you know what's going on there. Okay, so what is this? Let me see. Printing stories. Yeah. Tonight's going to be printing stories. Now, print shops are open 24/7. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's for those of us who can't count or are not very good at the alphabet. But printing shops are open 24/7. So you got day crews, you got night crews, you got one end of the week crew, you got the other end of the week crew. And, if you've never been in that situation, you probably didn't make any sense of that whatsoever. But those of us that have been there, yeah, we understand that very well. Anyways, day crew and night crew are sort of rivals. End of the week, beginning of the week, rivals. And we had this pair of young fellas that were on a rival crew, on a day crew. And whenever they'd come in wearing their little baseball caps, Superman and Batman, and going on and on and on about how great their team was over every other press team, there was in the plant, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. Well, needless to say, instead of confronting them directly and as a man would confront them, I instead taking the coward's way out. That night, I... serendipitously, and I'm not going to define that for you. You're going to have to find out how what that means for yourself. But I serendipitously painted the lock on their toolboxes pink. We're not talking just any pink. We're talking triple bubble gum, double A titty pink, nipple pink. I mean, those locks were pink when they came in the morning. Well, the funny thing about it was that for some reason or another, that seemed to click with the upstairs people. And we got a memo that whoever did that pink locks, they were found out they're going to fire us, which, of course, that never happened because nobody knows I did it, and I won't admit to it. But, of course, the fellas whose lock it was, they knew who did it. They couldn't prove anything, but they knew who did it. Which is why I found my toolbox today with not only the lock locked, but the lid has been super glued down. Okay. Going on in, sort of that venue with that same printing plant, there's a thing known as chicken bones. You never bring chicken bones on the press. There's just asking for bad luck. Now, I don't know how other people who've worked at the printing plants and such, and what their what's the word I'm looking for here? But how they do things there. We do it a little different down here in our printing plants. But putting chicken bones in somebody's locker was bad juju, man. Bad luck. Nothing you don't want to do. But yeah, you ever once want somebody to get chicken bones in their locker. So the best one we ever did was we turned somebody's team locker upside down. And that was a big son of a bitch. Must have been about 5 foot by 5 foot. We turned it upside down and we got in there and put chicken bones in it before we did that. So when they came in, there's them chicken bones. But keep them chicken bones off the press, folks. This last one I'm going to tell, I call this the Tom Powell story. Now, before I go any further with this, let me explain to this day, Tom Powell and I are good friends. We worked at a couple of companies together, and we've come to respect each other, you know, for his doing his part in the organization and such. So, without any further ado, let's continue with the story. So, when I was a young second pressman, not so young, I was in my mid-30s, but yeah, I guess that's younger than I am now. So, taking that into account, memory, and the fact that I can't remember what I was talking about, you know, yes, I remember the Tom Powell story. Anyways, me being the young second pressman, one of my jobs was to take what we were producing on the press into the office, manager's office, where Tom Powell was sitting, and present him with that copy and let him compare that to store copy and then make a decision right then and there whether or not that's what he wanted to run with, his store copies. Now let me explain store copies. Store copies in the print industry that I was in, those are the copies of advertisements that you get in your Sunday paper. Those are the ones that go in the stores. In other words, they got to be perfect when they get there. So anyways, every night, I would run into the office there and I'd look at Tom Powell and I'd go, Tapow. Not Tom Powell, but Tapow. Those of you who speak Spanish, you know what I just said. And I'd go, Tapow, store copies, and I'd give them to him. Well, this went on for about 2 months, I guess, where I managed to keep that little sham going. One day I walked in, I didn't see behind the door there sitting in a chair was one of the pressmen off the next shift coming on. And I said, Tapow, store copies. And they all of a sudden I hear this chair rattle behind me. I look behind me and, oh, I didn't see you back there. And the guy's looking at me and he's looking at Tom Powell and he's looking at me and he's looking at Tom Powell and he's back away. Then he goes, Tom, do you know what John just called you? He goes, yeah, John called me Tom Powell. He's got a very heavy accent, so you got to get around that. I mean, what's wrong with this? Says, no, he was saying Tapow. In Spanish, it means idiot. Now, I looked over at him and said, thanks for breaking it, man. Just thanks for breaking us. He goes, wait a minute. And then Tom Powell looks at me and goes, you're speaking without an accent. I said, I've spoken without an accent since I was a kid, Tom. You just never bothered to ask. Needless to say, though, Tom Powell and I did become very good friends. Very good friends. I no sooner left the company, and 3 months later, there was Tom right behind me doing another position there at the company I was at. But yeah, the Tom Powell story. I enjoyed bringing that to you. And I'd tell you why, but I'd probably get busted for it, so we're not going to go that far today. But I really enjoyed doing this one, and this was fun. And we'll do it again next week.